Hello, Andreas here. I wanted to do a quick video on features that you might not know are available on TradingView. Um, let's just get started. So, first things first, many of the things that I'm going to show you in this video, you can find in the menu here. You can find most of the keyboard shortcuts for charts and indicators and whatnot in the help menu. So I'm going to show you a couple of the keyboard shortcuts that are helpful, but you may find a couple more that you want to use on top as well. By the way, if you want to use shortcuts, you can see that they now show up in the menu where the drawing tools, for example, are as well. So let's just get started with a couple that I just happen to use all the time. First of all, if you are zoomed in, you can just press Command Option. I think it's Alt Option on Windows to just zoom out. Option T is to draw a trend line. You see that's very quick and very efficient. Obviously, there's Option H to draw horizontal trend lines or horizontal lines, and Option V to draw vertical ones. The new object tree is also very helpful with all your work that you do on a chart. For example, you can just group things together. You can rename them here individually, right? But you can also rename individual items here. For example, Q1 2020 or something. Note that this doesn't affect that the text. So I'm using this vertical line here for this demonstration. Note that whatever name you give it in the object tree is unaffected by the text that you write in here. I can call this Q1 and it shows up on the bottom, right? Oops. Now it says Q1 here, but the item itself is still Q1 2020, right? So there are differences here. Obviously, you can just also drag these around, move them somewhere else. The order in which you organize these drawing tools also affects how they are drawn on screen. For example, if you have an indicator, for example, like the Ichimoku, and your price chart is below the indicator is drawn on top of your chart. But if you want to have it the other way around, you can do so as well. And when I do that, you can see that these moving averages that the Ichimoku cloud uses, the Ichimoku indicator, sorry, uses, are now hidden by the price chart. If I do it the other way around, you can see that when I deselect everything now, that the moving averages now go on top of the price chart. So whichever way you prefer to do this is up to you. I've almost forgot to show one thing. If you have something on your chart and you want to copy it somewhere else, first of all, you can just right-click it and then copy or clone. Or as it now says, you can command drag because I'm on a Mac, or you can control drag on a Windows computer. Now copy also works, but it's a little derpy. Where is it? Paste trend line. You see it pastes it where it was and not when I move my mouse here and paste trend line, I expected it to paste here, but it doesn't do that. So the way around it is simply, I would recommend you do the following: just command drag, select the drawing that you want to move or copy somewhere else, and then just drag, and then you have two. Or one thing that I always, or very often, or sometimes use is, so let's say this is my main chart, yes? And so the way I have my indicators set here is the way I want to have them everywhere, right? But sometimes I open a chart and, for example, here the volume indicator just looks completely different. And I want to transfer my settings that I normally use to the other chart as well. So for example, I set a different moving average length or something along those lines. I used a different color scheme, whatever. The way you do that is simply you delete the indicator off the chart that you want to modify. Then you go into the indicator that you want to use as a default, basically. And here in the settings menu, you say save as default. Click OK. Then you go to the other chart, you press the slash key and search for volume. Then you add the volume indicator to your chart, and bam, you have the indicator with your favorite settings from the other chart. The same thing goes for, let's just hide this indicator for now. The same thing goes for pretty much everything that you set in the chart settings. You can create your own template down here. And whenever you want to apply it to another chart, you can just simply recall it from this menu down here, or you can choose apply to all, I think. While we're here, because I saw this paper trading menu, this is also very, very useful. If you want to trade crypto on a paper trading account, please use an exchange that specifically uses BTC USD. You see that I did a couple of testings here. And then you can access your account down here from paper trading. From your paper trading account, you have full access to your account history, executions of orders, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to reset your account, you can do so here, and then you can just enter some sort of balance that you want to start your trading adventure with. All right. Now, one thing that you see me do all the time is I'm saving my settings to the cloud, and I do this also with a keyboard shortcut. On the Mac, it's simply Command S. I believe it's Control S, save on Windows, but you can also just, so when I move this trend line here around, you see it's now unsaved, and when I move my mouse here, it kind of offers me to save it to the cloud, and so this comes, it's pretty self-explanatory. So indicators. One more thing that I also kind of regularly use is, so you see that I'm using a specific set of indicators. These are my favorite indicators, but sometimes I'm looking at different indicators. But I'm using a pro account. I don't want to spend the money on a premium account. I'm just fine with a pro account. Now, how can you solve that problem? Having more indicators that you actually use? Well, first of all, you can just set up a split view. That increases the amount of indicators that you can use per symbol, as it's called here in the menu, to 10 instead of 5 per chart. But you kind of have to live with having 2 charts on top of each other at the same time. So that's the only disadvantage. But you can always switch from the one chart to the other using the tab key. Now, the way around this is pretty simply, maybe you know this already, you can save indicator templates up here. Now, if you do some sort of analysis, let's just say I'm always using these indicators, and then you can just use standard as a name for these indicators, right? And then when you want to recall them, you just go to this menu and click the menu item, basically. You can also favorite items here, and then they appear in the menu next to the actual menu item. And this helps you get to your most favorite indicator templates more quickly. So while we are talking about indicators, let me just remove a couple of things here. I think the Ichimoku indicator, or let's just use the MACD down there as an example. You may know that you can set alerts for prices already, but you can actually improve on this. Well, first of all, what you may not know is you can click here to extend the lines. If you just get annoyed by having these orange lines on the chart all the time, like me, then you can just unclick to extend the indicator line. I find this very helpful because once I set up price alert, I don't want to see it anymore. Well, at least not the orange line, right? So let's say I want to have an alert that always goes off when the MACD crosses the 0 line. Pretty easy example here. Don't use it. So I can just go to the indicator, and this is helpful when your indicator doesn't actually offer this function, what I'm going to show you here. So here you see you have all the 3 different plots, as they are called in PineScript, that you can be alerted by. And here you can just say, if every time when the histogram crosses the value 0, you want to be updated once per bar or once per bar close. Let's just use once per bar from now. And here I can say MACD crossing 0 period. I like to finish my sentences with a period and click OK. Now you see that you have this orange alert symbol here. Again, extend the line, so you have the orange line, unclick it, and you don't. And now whenever the histogram crosses 0, you'll be alerted. Now that's pretty fancy, right? But you can actually do a lot more. Let's just go to the RSI here. Now, to quickly add an alert, you can just use Option A, by the way. And I want to be alerted every time the RSI crosses the value 65 and 45. Now, normally the way you would do that is just add an alert here, add an alert there, right? Just remove 1 or 2 alerts because I think I'm running out of alerts otherwise. So every time the RSI crosses 45 and 65 would actually cost me 2 alerts, right? And the way around that is actually pretty simple. In the menu here under the drawing tools is the parallel channel. Now, what's cool about the parallel channel, let me show it different. You can add an alert for trend lines and channels as well. And that's pretty nifty because if you add an alert for a channel, it allows you to set every time when it's exiting or inside the channel, outside the channel. Experiment with it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Once per bar. Now, every time the RSI, which is called plot in this indicator, exits this channel, I'll be alerted. Once per bar, by the way. And so that's pretty cool as well. And you can also extend the lines. And then pretty simply you'd go to, you can move this guy to 65. Whenever you want to draw a straight line with the trend line and any other indicator, you simply hold down the Shift key, and then it snaps to 45-degree angles. It does the same thing, by the way, for the channel. Here you can see it's now on 65. And so now I have my channel sitting at 65, 45. My alert will always be firing at 65, 45. And the cool thing here is you can also use the channel that I just shown for terrible channel, by the way. But you know, you get my idea here. Something ugly like this. You can set an alert for this parallel channel as well, right? And whenever you move the channel around, you also update your alert. Actually, 2 alerts. And you can do a whole lot of stuff with that as well. Now, that's pretty cool, right? If I go back to the RSI here, I normally don't want to see this channel all the time, but I still want to get the alert, right? The way around that is pretty simply just hide, oops, sorry, hide the parallel channel, not the indicator. And then I'll still be alerted by the RSI exiting and entering the channel, for example, but I don't have to watch it all the time. Now, what you can also do with, let's use the Ichimoku indicator that I have here, because this indicator doesn't actually naturally have alerts for it, but it comes with these moving average crossovers as a theme. These are, if you happen to know how scripting works, these are Boolean variables that I'm going to show you, and these crosses are either 0 or 1. Now, how do you make an alert for a moving average crossover when an indicator has something that it uses with zeros and ones? When you go over the indicator, it actually doesn't show up here. What a guy. Okay, anyway, then I'm showing it here. Here you see that I have strong bullish Tenkan cross, I think it's called. I forgot what the menu entry exactly says, but you can set an alert for alerts to be specific for these crosses, and then you can simply say when it is greater than value 0 once per bar, and then you can just also customize the alert, obviously, to your liking. And you will always be alerted whenever you have a strong bullish cross, a weak bullish cross, and so forth. And that way you can easily modify indicator alerts to your liking. So, last but not least, I forgot one thing. Working with the chart, that is a new feature that not many people know yet, is so normally when you scroll with the mouse, you always scroll from the right-hand side. Notice when I scroll when I zoom out, I should say, it keeps the right-hand side in place and more of the chart from the left-hand side is shown. But you can actually, let's say I want to zoom in on this specific candle where my mouse is over, can hold down the command key, I believe it's the control key on Windows, and then zoom in, and it zooms into the candle that you have selected instead of zooming from, instead of keeping the right-hand side in place. Last but not least, let's talk about the market scanner. You can find this on TradingView or here on the bottom left, the stock screener, the forex screener, or the crypto screener. I'm just going to stick with the crypto screener here. First of all, this thing is pretty amazing to find stuff to trade. If you happen to trade stocks or forex or crypto. I just happen to have it set up with crypto at the moment, so be my guest. You can obviously set very specific filters on which crypto, in my case here, I want to look for. Now, that's not all. Let's say you happen to have a specific list of your favorite crypto, and you just want this specific list to search for specific indicator values. That was not a very, very good sentence, but you get hopefully my point. Then you can just go here, and this is very, very, very hidden. I had to search for it. If you click here, you can use any of your colored lists as an input for your filter for the screener. So if I put, let's say, I don't know, the US 500, I add this symbol here now, and then it will also be shown in the crypto screener if any of the values, or not in the crypto screener, in the screener, if my filters and if my filters match whatever I'm looking for, basically. So this was really it. I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration. Until next time, cheers.